Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide. Welcome to this week's navigation task. We've got a beautiful photograph this week from the Peak District. Lovely morning with an inversion in the valley below. I simply want to know, can you identify the feature circled, and can you work out where the photograph was taken from? So using the Ordnance Survey 1 to 50,000 map for this task. So somewhere on there is the feature circled, and somewhere on there is the point that I took the photo from. Now with this, the low-lying blanket of fog can actually help us because it lies in the valley bottoms, so that will help us look at the map and identify the valleys on the map. And then identify the high points sticking out. So down to our right we've got an obvious wide area of fog, so that's going to be a wide valley. And then if we look at the fog, it goes round and kinks round here between this hill and this hill. So we've got a valley to our right and then a valley between those two hills. We've got this long ridge coming down here, and then a long ridge coming down here. It gradually descends into the fog, and then our feature is in, well, it's beyond another valley, because see the fog comes round here, and then we've got our feature, which is two summits, twin summits poking out through the fog. So if we can visualize that, this valley swinging round, high point, and then low-lying ground beyond that with those there. So can we have a look at that? Well, on the map we've only really got one valley to choose from, which is the Edale Valley here, the Vale of Edale. So we're looking along that with that on our right. So that means we're either on this high ground here looking towards the west with the valley on our right, or we're somewhere over here in this direction looking more easterly with the valley on our right. Can we work out that? Well, we could work it out from the landscape by interpreting the features. We can also, on a sunny day, just have a think about the shadows. So we can see the shadows here and here. So that means the sun is off to our right somewhere up here, and we know that the sun rises roughly in the east, goes through the south in the middle of the day, and sets in the west. So if the sun is over to our right, then if it's a morning view with an inversion down there, we've got to be looking in an easterly direction. So that would mean we've got to be over this way looking towards the east. Like I said, we don't need that. We could work it out from the map, but just as a little hint, we could use that. So long deep valley, and we see if we follow the road or the river, it swings round to the right, and we've got a high point here of Loose Hill dropping down, and then another high point here of Win Hill. So that could be those two higher peaks sticking out. And then look, it drops down to a valley again with a reservoir in it, and then here we've got these two ring contours, the twin peaks of Crook Hill sticking up there. So Loose Hill, Win Hill and Crook Hills there. So maybe that's not too difficult. What about the photo location? Well, what can we see? Well, immediately in front of us from this high point, it looks like we've got a horizon line and the ground drops away. It drops away ahead and left, straight ahead, and it looks like it drops away to the right as well. And then if we were to go in a straight line to our features, we'd go down and then up the other side. See this long ridge coming down here with flatter ground here, and then a rocky rise here up to the plateau and then some rocky ground here to our left, stream draining down from that, and then it looks like beyond this ridge the ground drops away again, and then up the other side to another ridge that comes down, sort of steep to start with, and then flattens, drops away, flattens, and then drops away into the fog, and then that's in a direct line to our two summits there. So let's see if we can work some of that out on the map. We've got a few possible locations. We already know we're looking towards the east, so could we be on this high ground here where it drops away steeply, or on this high ground here of Grindslow Knoll where it drops away steeply? Some people suggested in the answers that we were somewhere on Upper Tor here. Some people suggested we're on Mad Woman's Stones there. So we can discount some of these, because if we were at Mad Woman's Stones looking across to Crook Hill, we'd expect a gradual drop off in the contours. See, it's quite flat there to start with, whereas our photograph showed us dropping away quite steeply. If we were at Upper Tor, well, the ground would drop away steeply to our right, but if we were looking across to Crook Hill, we'd be looking along the contours to start with. Let me just demonstrate that. So if we were somewhere here on Upper Tor looking across to Crook Hill, we'd be looking along these contour lines, almost along the edge of the plateau with a steep drop to the right. But look at Ringing Roger, this high rocky point, and then this drop, flattening drop, that first ridge. We'd be looking to the left of Ringing Roger, and the second ridge we'd be looking along the top of this flattening before it then dropped steeply, flattened, steeply, and flattened, and we don't see that in the photograph. Yeah, so we're looking across the middle of these two sort of ridges coming down. So we can't be on Upper Tor because we'd be looking over the top of that feature there. So that discounts that. Another thing to look at is how Win Hill and Loose Hill line up. As we're looking, Win Hill is off to the left of Loose Hill as we look. So if we do a similar thing and draw lines, if we were on this area here, Loose Hill would almost be directly in front of Win Hill as we looked. Yeah, very, very close to each other in a transit line. And then also, if we look from there over to Crook Hill, our line of sight would take us much lower down the valley rather than over these two flattenings of the ridge further up there. So that discounts as being on this part of the map. So that only really leaves us with this higher ground of Grindslow Knoll here. Let's have a look at that. So from Grindslow Knoll, if we were to look out over that first ridge, over that second ridge, and on to Crook Hill. Let me just put a line on the map for you. There you are. There you can see that our line of sight takes us over those and to our destination. So answers there. I'm actually going to show you a top answer this week. Not done this before. I'm going to give you a top answer from someone who answered the task. So this is an answer submitted by Yakov on Twitter. Yeah, well done. I like that. Really shows the answer that we've just discussed. So thank you. I'll put some more of these in each week. Don't worry, I won't name and shame anyone who gets it wrong, but I just think it's good to interact with people who are answering. So anyway, that's the task for this week. Thanks for watching. Look out for next week's navigation task. Bye for now.